Just that, okay. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Prashayine Nirishesha Shunyavadi Dashaka Dashakaine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Prashayine Nirishesha Shunyavadi Dashaka Dashakaine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Så vad händer nu?
Det var
Lektioner?
Ja, om
Ni
du
har
kan
redan haft
vill
allting.
sjunga lite. Ja, om du vill att sjunga lite. Den går bra också.
Jag kommer sjunga Radha Madhava.
Ja, tack.
Mm.
Ja. Tack.
Jag kommer sitta på golvet, okej?
Okej.
No, I cannot play an instrument. Kartals
Yeah.
is like my...
You prefer this one or this one? Which is better?
Sorry?
Which one you prefer?
I don't know. I think maybe these ones are better.
Okay.
You know, click on this microphone that we have streaming. It to be very loud with the kartals, no?
Usually.
Okay. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhardhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanacharya Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanacharya Jamuna Tira Vanacharya Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Vishnupad Prabhu Sibhuvija Kisharya Starasata. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Prabhu Sibhuvija Kisharya Starasata. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Naam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadigora Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinata Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Mathura Dhamma Ki Jai. Navadvipa Dhamma Ki Jai. Mayapur Dhamma Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dhamma Ki Jai. Jagannatha Swami Ki Jai. Vrindavana Dhamma Ki Jai. Gangi Manwai Ki Jai. Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Gaura Pramananda. Samaveda Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. All glories to some devotees, all glories to some devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Guranga. Nam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pashtai Utali Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Temene. Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtati Deshatarine. So you sang the Damodara before, yeah? Or no? So which languages you speak here? Språk. You speak English? Svenska?
Little English.
Mest svenska.
No svenska.
Ingen svenska?
No svenska, little English. I am Ukrainian.
Oh. Здравствуйте.
From Kosovo.
Från Kosovo. Så vad ska vi ha för språk?
Engelska.
Engelska, okay. So we are going to read from the Bhagavad-Gita. I'm sorry that I don't have proper clothes, but I don't come from home. I was away, so I didn't have with me. So I was thinking we could read a little bit from Bhagavad-Gita. I think everybody knows. Who is somebody here for the first time?
Yes.
You are here for the first time, and you already have sari. Very quickly. And you only speak Swedish. Okay. So how shall we do in English?
Yeah.
But then she will not understand.
I think she can to explain to her, and I can explain later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought we were going to read from Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 8, text 22. And we're going to do like this. First we're going to offer obeisances. We recite a mantra which is Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 So this we offer, these mantras, we offer our respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Vasudeva, the son of Vasudeva. Vasudeva, it means also he who resides everywhere, all over. So now I'm going to read the verse word by word, and you can repeat the Sanskrit after me. First we read the Sanskrit. Purushaha, Saha, Paraha, Partha, Bhaktya, Labhya, Tu, Ananyaya, Yasya, Anta, Sthani, Bhutani, Yena sarvam idam tatam Purusha saparaparta Purusha saparaparta Purusha saparaparta Bhaktya labhyastvananyaya Labhyastvananyaya Bhaktya labhyastvananyaya Stvananyaya Yasyantasthani bhutani Yasyasthani bhutani Yasyantasthani bhutani Yena sarvam idam tatam Yena sarvam idam tatam Sarvam idam tatam. So now we're going to read the word by word, and you can also repeat after me. Purushaha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So Purusha, this is the same word as in English, person. Swedish person. Purushaha. The same word in Sanskrit, very similar. Saha, he, para, the Supreme, than whom no one is greater. Partha, O son of Pritha. Bhaktya, by devotional service. Labhya, can be achieved. To, but. Anyaya, unalloyed, undeviating. Yasya, whom. Antasthani, within. Bhutani, all of this material manifestation. Yena, by whom. Sarvam, all. Idam, whatever we can see. Tatam, is pervaded. The translation: the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attained by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all-pervading, and everything is situated within him. So now we can repeat also. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. Please repeat. Who is greater than all, is attained by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all-pervading, and everything is situated within him. When I went to school, we always had to repeat what the teacher said. I still remember when we learned multiplication, the whole class was singing, 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 2 is 2, times 3 is 3. You also went to this kind of school, no? You also, huh? So this is very good training. Oh, Zarina, Hare Krishna. So, translation: the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all-pervading, and everything is situated within him. So, purport: it is clearly stated that the supreme destination from which there is no return is the abode of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Person. The Brahma Samhita describes this supreme abode as Ananda Chinmaya Rasa, a place where everything is full of spiritual bliss. All the variegatedness manifested there is of the quality of spiritual bliss. Nothing there is material. That variegatedness is expanded as the spiritual expansion of the Supreme Godhead Himself. For the manifestation, there is totally... That Godhead is expanded as the spiritual expansion of the Supreme Godhead Himself. Okay, I try again. That variegatedness is expanded as the spiritual expansion of the Supreme Godhead Himself. For the manifestation there is totally of spiritual energy, as explained in chapter 7. As far as this material world is concerned, although the Lord is always in His supreme abode, He is nonetheless all-pervading by His material energy. So, by His spiritual and material energies, He is present everywhere, both in the material and in the spiritual universes. Yasya antasthani means that everything is sustained within Him, within either His spiritual or material energy. The Lord is all-pervading by these two energies. To enter Krishna's supreme abode, or the innumerable Vaikuntha planets, is possible only by bhakti, devotional service, as clearly indicated here by the word bhaktya. No other process can help one attain that supreme abode. The Vedas, Gopala Upanishad, also describe the supreme abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Eko Vasi Sarvaga Krishna. In that abode, there is only one Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose name is Krishna. He is the Supreme Merciful Deity, and although situated there as one, He has expanded Himself into millions and millions of plenary expansions. The Vedas compare the Lord to a tree, standing still, yet bearing many varieties of fruits, flowers, and changing leaves. The plenary expansions of the Lord, who preside over the Vaikuntha planets, are four-armed, and they are known by a varieties of names: Purushottama, Trivikrama, Keshava, Madhava, Aniruddha, Rishikesha, Sankarsana, Pradyumna, Sridhara, Vasudeva, Damodara, Janardana, Naranarayana, Vamana, Padmanabha, etc. The Brahma Samhita also confirms that although the Lord is always in the supreme abode, Goloka Vrindavana, He is all-pervading, so that everything is going on nicely. Goloka eva nivashati akilatma bhuto. As stated in the Vedas, in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, Parasya Shaktir Vivideva Shruvate Svabhaviki Jnana Balakriya Cha. His energies are so expansive that they systematically conduct everything in the cosmic manifestation without a flaw, although the Supreme Lord is far, far away. So the verse, it's from chapter 8, verse number 22 in Bhagavad-Gita. Purushaha sapara parta bhaktyalabhyasta tvanyanyaya yasyantas thani bhutani yena sarvam idam tatam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although He is present in His abode, He is all-pervading, and everything is situated within Him. Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutaliya Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Gauravani Prachayane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Satya Sitarine Amagena Timinusya Agena Shalakya Chaksami Tamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So here it is explained. This is a I don't know if this is really proper for a Sunday feast, but this is a very nice verse. But this is a very deep verse. Deep in the sense that there are many things explained here which once understood, make everything else in the world appear less difficult. One of the important things which Srila Prabhupada starts by mentioning is that here it's clearly stated that the supreme destination, the topmost destination for a yogi, it is the abode of Krishna. So this abode of Krishna is described in many places, but one of the most beautiful descriptions is in one book, which is called Brahma Samhita. It's a very little book. We only actually have the 5th chapter of this book. It was a more extensive scripture. It was written by Lord Brahma, or recited by Lord Brahma. And Lord Chaitanya found it in one temple in the south of India, and then he copied it and he spread it. This is, because of this, we still have access to it today. But there, the spiritual world is described as Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. It's a place where everything is full of spiritual bliss. Here in the material world, which we'll all see later, is also a part of the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But here in the material world, it is not so that everything is conscious. Like you cannot go out and talk to a tree. Of course you can, but probably will not get any answer. The tree is conscious, but is covered by ignorance, so therefore they cannot speak. In the spiritual world, there is no ignorance. Everything is made of spiritual energy, and therefore everything is conscious. So in the spiritual world, the land is conscious, the land you walk on is touchstone, the trees are conscious, all the different animals which are in the spiritual world, because there are also animals, everything is full of consciousness. And not only that, also full of bliss. So there is this, not this covering of misery, which covers, which overwhelms our existence in this material world. Everything is full of bliss. So all this is there because the spiritual world is a manifestation of Krishna's energy. And being a manifestation of Krishna's energy, because Krishna is full of bliss, when Krishna manifests his environment, that also becomes full of bliss. You know, like if you have a friend who is always joking and always laughing, maybe you can keep very serious for a little while. But after some time, you're going to be taken if that person is genuine. So this is the same thing in the spiritual world. Krishna is full of bliss. His body, Krishna is a spiritual body, and that body is called Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Sat stands for eternal, Chit, full of knowledge, and Ananda, full of spiritual bliss. Vigraha, form. So Krishna has a form, but that form is made of spiritual energy, and all the environment where Krishna is present, everything becomes just saturated with his bliss. So in the spiritual world, there is no presence of material energy. So therefore, all the inhabitants there, they are engaged in the service of the Lord, and our natural condition of happiness, of bliss, is also manifest. It's not only that it's only Krishna who is full of bliss. We, the spirit soul, because we are part and parcel of Krishna, we also have this capacity of ananda, of bliss. Somewhere inside there is this joyfulness, this spiritual happiness within all of us. Of course, how to get to this source of happiness, this is maybe the greatest question. In material society, they always, especially in the advertisement industry, they always promise that you buy this mobile telephone and you become very happy. Maybe for 1 hour. You like the telephone and you try to find all the things on the telephone, you're very happy. Or you buy this car, or you buy this jacket and you become very happy. This is not happiness. Because happiness must come from within and must come from a spiritual source. Otherwise, in this material world there is happiness. I mean, like if we see a beautiful garden, if we eat a nice meal, if we smell beautiful smell, okay, these are impressions for the senses. But to a certain extent, they are external. You know, like we eat, okay? We're very satisfied when we eat. But after a while, we're going to be hungry again. And we again have to eat. There is not this internal, permanent satisfaction which is there in the spiritual world. And this satisfaction is there because in the spiritual world, one is in Krishna's association, one is engaged in Krishna's service, and one is taking part on this spiritual energy by which Krishna maintains the whole spiritual world. So Srila Prabhupada goes on here and he explains that in this material world, even if the Lord is always in his supreme abode, still he is present in this material world by his energy, by his material energy. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is actually present everywhere. He is present directly in his eternal spiritual form, in the spiritual world, in Vaikuntha, but is also present here in this material world by his material energy. He also has other forms by which is present in this material world, like for instance a form of Krishna is the Paramatma form. Just make yourself comfortable, it's okay. Paramatma. Does anybody know what is Paramatma? No? Paramatma, you know for sure. Exactly. Paramatma? Who else knows about Paramatma? Otherwise I will explain if you don't know. Our soul is Atma, but this is Paramatma.
Highest.
Yeah, the Supreme Soul, exactly, the highest soul. So this is also explained a little bit further on here in Bhagavad-Gita, the 13th chapter. There is a verse, which if I am lucky, I will find it, which actually says this very, very nicely. So here is the verse. Yet in this body, so that this body, there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is known as the super soul. Yes?
Krishna.
Exactly. Very good. So, within our body, there is two personalities. So there is ourselves, our Atma, spirit soul, and there is also Krishna, who follows us during all our presence in the material world. When we go back to the spiritual world, Paramatma doesn't follow with us. But like when we leave this material body, when we die, when we leave the body, then the super soul brings us into the next body. We know maybe from the Bhagavad-Gita that our body actually is composed of 8 ingredients. Okay? We have the normal ones, which are physical, which is earth, water, fire, air, and ether. This is like the 5 gross elements. In Sanskrit they call them Bhumir, Apo, Analo, Vayur. Kam is the space. So this is our physical body. Besides this physical body, which we all can see, there is 3 other ingredients which are part of our material being, which is Mano, Buddhir, Ahankara. So there is the mind, the intelligence, and the ego, or the false ego as we normally call it, because the real ego, the real me, is the spirit soul, and we have also an identity when we are in this material world, which is different from our real eternal identity. So when we leave the body, we leave these 5 gross elements, okay? This is the physical body. And then the subtle body, which is this mind, intelligence, and the ego, with the help of the super soul, is brought to the next body. Okay, so the continuity of consciousness is there. So the consciousness we have at the time of death, that consciousness, with the help of the super soul, will bring in the next body. So there is a continuity of consciousness from life to life. It is funny because people have so many different ideas about reincarnation. You know, like I go to schools and I explain about reincarnation, and then they ask, "Can I become a butterfly in next life?" I would like to be a butterfly. Okay, I mean, nothing wrong, but we'll just live for 15 hours or so, 24 hours. We can, but in general there is a continuity of consciousness. So where we are when we leave the body, that condition will attain also without fail. I think it's here even in Bhagavad-Gita, in 8th chapter. Yam yam vapismaram bhavam. You don't know, huh? Yam yam vapismaram bhavam tyajantiyante kalevaram. I can look in the index. I didn't come from home, so I had to grab this little book. It's like my traveling Bhagavad-Gita.
8.6.
8.6, okay, so it was in the 8th chapter. Thank you very much. So there is this verse here, which is a very, very interesting and very important verse when it comes to make us... No, 8.5. Okay. Yeah, 8.5 and 6. Yeah, thank you. So the 8.5, it says, whoever at the end of his life, quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. So Krishna is explaining here to Arjuna that whatever you will remember at the time of death, that if you remember Krishna at the time, Krishna alone and nothing else at the time of death, for sure you will attain Krishna after leaving the body. And now here in this verse, Krishna is explaining a more general case. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. This is one of the most important verses in the Bhagavad-Gita as far as it comes to understanding the mechanism of going from one body to another. So, if we are in material consciousness, at the time of death, we'll most probably remember something material, and that consciousness will bring us to the next body. If we have practiced during our life, if we have performed spiritual practices, at the time of death, there is a great chance that we'll remember Krishna, or at least something related to Krishna, and then we'll go to the abode of Krishna. So sometimes people don't understand the importance of cultivating spiritual life. It's not that at the time of death you can just force yourself to think about something. Not possible. What happens at the time of death is that the sum of all the activities which you have performed in your life, they just come before you and they force themselves into your consciousness. I can actually say this because I was drowning once when I was 8 years old. I was in the ocean, and in Portugal the ocean is not like the Baltic Sea. It's like waves, you know. Everything between 2 and 10 meters, you know. So anyway, I got caught out, and I thought, I was a child. I was like 8 years, I think, or 7. I was a child, but I understood, okay, now, I'm going to leave the body. And then, it came like a movie in front of me. My father, my mother, my sister, my brother, our dog, our house, grandparents, all this thing was just, somehow I could go back. I didn't drown. But this was an interesting experience because I could actually get practical experience of what happens at the time of death. So if during our life we're always thinking about material things, then most probably at the time of death, some material thoughts will come upon us. So therefore, in the Hare Krishna movement, we have these different practices. These practices are not just a waste of time, but these practices are a process of cultivation of consciousness. So we try to make our consciousness spiritual. And why do we have to work to do this? Because we are in a material world. We are fully surrounded by matter, isn't it? In the morning, we have to get up, take shower, eat breakfast, go to work, take care of the children, pay bills, come home, take dinner. Continuously, we are continuously surrounded and interacting with material energy. So if we don't do anything, if we don't try to change this consciously, we will just become overwhelmed by matter. And to become overwhelmed by matter, by the material energy, it means in general suffering. Like in our modern society, we have a very easy life compared with what it used to be. You know, like many of you, I think all of you, are from another countries. But even in Sweden, I mean, like in 1930, 1950, I mean, people were working very hard and life was very difficult. You know, it was actually very, very tough. Nowadays, compared to that, our life is very easy. We have warm water, warm houses, food every day on the table. If we are sick, we can go to the doctor. There is so many different material facilities. But still, if you look at the level of happiness of people because they got all these material things, the level of happiness has not increased. People are equally frustrated with their own life because this is the result of material energy. Material energy, if you try to become happy materially, it never ends. You always one step from happiness. And even you can see people who have everything materially, who are very rich or who are very famous, they still disturbed and unhappy in so many ways. Even if material, they have everything. So, why is this? Because so many people, they don't have knowledge that there is something higher. They think that everything we have, this is matter. You know, like many people you meet, they say, I don't believe in God. I just believe in what I see. But I mean, you don't see the voice which is coming in your mobile phone. Do you see? But it's coming. So seeing is not the proof. But they think that seeing is a proof. No. Our senses can only bring us a certain kind of knowledge. They cannot, by engaging the senses, we cannot solve the real problems of existence. Because, let's say we have made so much material progress, but still everybody is going to die. And when you die, it doesn't matter if you are famous or not famous. If you have 1 million crowns or $1 million or 1 million euros or whatever, nothing matters actually, because death is the same for everybody. So sometimes when the Christian missionaries, they start to study Hinduism, they thought that this is very pessimistic. Why? Because in Hinduism, in the Vedic philosophy, we make people aware about the sufferings of material existence. Why? It's not because we are sadistic or, how is it called? Masochist. No. We say material life is miserably, it's full of problems. There is this birth, disease, old age, death. These problems are there. But at the same time, we offer a solution for these things. And what is the solution? You have a process here, which we call for Bhakti Yoga. And by engaging this process, you can become transcendental to these sufferings and these problems of this material world. How do we know that? In Krishna consciousness, we have something which is called, there's a picture here. It's called the disciplic succession. There is a succession of teachers. There over there in this picture, there's the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavana. And here are the latest spiritual masters in our tradition. And these are persons who have cultivated spiritual knowledge. And they have learned from their masters and transmitted to their disciples in a continuous chain what shall we do to overcome the problems of material existence?
Think
And-
of God.
Exactly. This is the exact simple solution. Problem is that people, grown-up people, they cannot think about God. They have to think about money. They have to think about the apartment. They have to think about taking care of their children. They have to think about their job. So they cannot think about God, even if it's very simple, as you said. It's so. So they say the truth comes from the mouth of a child. You know this story. The king was naked. Do you know this story?
No.
No. I will just tell this story, just for entertaining. But there was a king. I'm sure everybody knows this. There was a king,
I know who it is.
and this king, who is it? No, you don't know. Because there is no name. But there was a king, and this king was very, how do you say, faux-fang in English? He was very, he liked to dress very nicely. And so two cheaters, they knew this about the king, and they thought, we're going to figure out something, how to get some money. So they went to the king and said, we are going to make you a dress which is so fantastic. First of all, the cloth is very, very fine. You hardly feel it on your body. And then not only that, only intelligent people will be able to see this dress, these clothes. The king was very, now I'm going to get something real here, really beautiful. So this man came, the king gave them a room, and they said how much, they said the king has to pay so and so much, a huge amount of money. And then first they start to make the cloth. And they said, this is a very beautiful cloth, but only intelligent people can see this. So of course everybody has this ego. I must be intelligent, very, very smart. So the king said, oh, it's very beautiful. And he brought all the ministers. And the ministers in those days, they were like the politicians today. Not much up there. Unfortunately. Most of the politicians, no brain.
Pretended to stitch and sew.
I didn't hear, sorry?
They pretended to stitch and sew.
Pretended to stitch a suit.
Yeah, not yet. They are still making the cloth. Soon. So anyway, the cloth and Your Majesty, you like this one or this one? There was nothing there. There's just, do you like this cloth? You feel it. It's so fine. You cannot. But nobody wanted to admit they are stupid. So anyway, so they were appreciating this cloth. Then they would start to sew, and the king would come. They would try it on him, and so on. So finally, after a lot of show, they're taking long time, and they received all the money, so they gave all the clothes to the king, and the king, he wanted to show himself in these clothes to the citizen. So he took off all his old clothes, and here the tailors came and said, Your Majesty, put your arm here and your arm here. And everybody, of course, in the kingdom knew only intelligent people can see this dress. So nobody wanted to say, I'm stupid, I cannot see. So finally a child, when the king was going through the city, said, he's naked. So why? Because there was no developed ego there. So anyway, I don't know why I was telling this, but the thing is like this, that where was I before? Bhakti. You were speaking about bhakti. So this bhakti yoga, it's not that we like to point to people that life is difficult, but sometimes it's aware to understand the difficulties of life, because it will give us an impetus to get out of this material condition. Because if people don't have the alternative spiritual life, they just think this is how life is. You know, I will suffer, I will be disturbed, I will have anxiety, I'll be angry, I'll be fearful. People don't think there is a way outside of this. But somehow for us, we have been able to come in contact with the Vedic philosophy. We have been able to contact with spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, who composed all these books where it is explained how can we change our consciousness, how can we elevate our consciousness, how can we detach ourselves from the material world. So in the Vedic philosophy, especially for you who come from India, you will understand this word. There is a concept called Jiva Mukta. Jiva Mukta, it's a person who lives in this material world, but who is liberated. That means even if he is living in the body, he is not anymore connected with the body. The example given in the Vedas is that sometimes you have a coconut, and because the inside is drying and the outside remains the same, the white part detaches itself. So when you take the coconut, you have seen this for sure, you who come from India. You know, the coconut, the inside is detached from the outside. So everything is there, but it's detached. So the Vedic literatures, they teach us how to detach ourselves from this material world. And in order to do that, we need first of all to understand what is the root of our attachment. Second of all, we need to have a process to detach ourselves. So the reason for our existence in the material world, it's our desire. So sometimes people speak about the original engine which started the whole material creation. So this is desire. So whatever we want to do, our wishes, this is actually the engine which gets everything going. Yeah? We can always compare our life with our wishes. What did I wish for? There is also, in these terms of wishes, there is also a funny story. I think it's from the Greek mythology. I think she was, is it Cassandra? I don't remember. But there was anyway a woman, and she prayed to the supreme god of the pantheon, make me immortal. Is it Cassandra? Nobody remembers her. I don't remember her name, but it's irrelevant. So make me immortal. Okay, you can live forever. But she forgot to ask for eternal youth. So what happened is that she became older and older, and in the end, they were just carrying her in one plate. You know, it was just a little piece of dust. But she could not die because she has been granted immortal. So her desire to become immortal was manifested, but she forgot to ask for eternal youth. And this is often what happens with our desires. Our desires are full of faults. We don't actually know what is good for ourselves. Even if we think, okay, I will get a good job, I will get money, I will arrange this and that, and my life will become order. But then we just forget something in this process of desiring. And then misery comes upon us. So like sometimes people desire to eat good, but they forget to eat healthy. And then they get diseases. Or they desire to make a lot of money, but then their life becomes very stressful. And even if they have a lot of money, they are very stressed and unhappy because they are running from one place to another. So our desires, which coming from the soul, they always imperfect, they always full of limitations, and they are actually not for our best interest. So therefore, Krishna, being very kind and seeing our condition in this material world, he has explained, especially in the Vedic literatures, I mean, like here we're reading about Bhagavad-Gita, how to get out of this mess. You know, because material life is just messy. It doesn't matter how we try to arrange it, it's always messy. This is at least my experience. This is also the words of the Shastras. So instead, what to do? Instead of putting ourselves in the center of existence, we try to understand that Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is in the center. And somehow, when we put Krishna in the center, all the aspects of our life become one by one regulated. And gradually, we detach ourselves from this material world, our consciousness becomes spiritualized, and we hopefully, when we leave the body, we'll be able to remember Krishna and go to the spiritual world, as it is explained here in this verse in 8.5. So the process to do that, I don't know how long I should finish. When I should finish is 4:30. Now, right now, yeah. Okay, so I'll finish. So the process of Krishna consciousness is very simple, and it starts in a very, very, very simple way. What is in here? Okay. And it starts by chanting the holy name of the Lord. So this chanting sounds very simple, and it is very simple. Srila Prabhupada used to say even a child can do. Can you chant? Say after me, Hare Krishna. Okay, I will not be on her case. So this chanting is actually a very simple process, but is extremely powerful because, as it's explained here, Krishna, even if Krishna is situated in one place, still his influence, Krishna's influence is everywhere. So one of the ways in which Krishna is manifest in this material world, it's in his holy name. So when we engage in this is called japa, meditation, we chant in every beat, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then we go to the next one, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So when we are doing this process, what are we doing? Instead of listening to our mind, listening to what people listen to nowadays, I don't even know, but newspaper, radio, TV, advertisement. So instead of doing this, we are associating directly with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of His holy name. And what happens? What happens is that our mind, which is normally on, so to say, on a material vibration, our mind becomes elevated and it becomes spiritualized. And the first thing which happens is that we start to see how we are tied into this material world. Yeah? We are tied here. And what is the proof? If you want to leave, of course you can also always throw yourself from the roof, but if you don't do it, if you don't destroy your body, you cannot leave this entanglement. And even if you destroy your body, you come back to the same place where you just stopped. So if we start to chant, we start to understand in which way are we attached. And Krishna starts to become more and more manifest in our life, in our heart. It manifests through our intelligence, and we learn how to solve the problems of life in such a way that we can progress in spiritual life. And progress in spiritual life, it means putting Krishna in the center and ultimately being able to remember Krishna at the time of leaving the body. So I have to finish here. My time is over. So if you want to make any comment or question, please do it.
I have a small question.
Please.
We say that we don't need the material stuff when we are leaving at stage here. It doesn't make a difference if we have 100 kronas or a million kronas. But when we are living the life, that time you need the money and that time you need things to survive. You cannot survive without some things which you basically need. Obviously at time of death, we don't need, or those things doesn't help. But when we are living, that time we need those things. So how is that thing given up? Like, if you get my question.
If you look at everything around us, everything is material. So there is nothing wrong with the matter. Like for instance, there is nothing wrong with having a family. Actually, this is a part of the Vedic way of life. Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi. So the problem comes when we start to use things for our own sense gratification. For our own satisfaction. Okay, so if I have money and I just use it for myself, instead of using it for Krishna, you understand? Then the problems start. So it's not that anything in the material world is wrong, except of course, criminal, abominable things, yeah? But I mean, let's say from the normal things from the day-to-day life, it's not that the material world is wrong. The material world is there, it's given by Krishna. But the problem starts when we start to see this material world as a vehicle for our own enjoyment. So like when you look at one's family, we all have families. So we have to take care of the family materially. Like my children, I always on their case so that they will study and they will have, a good material life. But ultimately, the goal of the head of the family is trying to bring the members of the family to Krishna consciousness. So it's not that we criticize people by having money. We just say that in itself will not bring you happiness. But it's forbidden to have. Krishna gives, so it is there. But some part of that income we should use, for helping spiritual activities, or, it can be you give it to a temple, you go to a pilgrimage to Vrindavana. I mean, anyway, there is many different ways. There is many different ways of giving, but the thing in spiritual life, we have to learn how to see Krishna and in which way we can help and which way we can engage in Krishna consciousness. Like they have here these Sunday feasts. Maybe you can help with something, cooking or paying or coming and cleaning or giving flowers. I mean, there is many different ways. But matter in itself is not wrong. You cannot manage without it. You are here. We are all here. A very good question. Yeah, please.
I will comment exactly about this topic I'm hearing this morning. It's so interesting to hear again.
Please.
And my experience in my life, if I be before just having desire for the family, myself, and the health and what I needed, I thinking I needed, it was not enjoyment. If we come in this understanding of conscious, or Krishna conscious, where we are more engaged, the way how we spend the things, how we see the things, how we earn the things is totally different. And you know after what it is needed, where you come to use the rest of your health or everything. It is come much more pure and clear more and more in the life. And for this, thank you for the lesson today. It was, thank you.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Anything else? So try a little bit to start with the chanting, a little bit, that's very nice. If you can do it every day, even if it's one round, you can increase. And the important thing is to be able to do it every day, you know, what everyone does. And one will notice a big difference in one's life, because now we go around in the world a little bit like this. You know, we think we see everything, but actually we are very much covered by material energy. Our ability to understand the world and the universe and the higher realms of energy, it's very limited. I mean, like a simple thing, before, I mean, like you read all these stories, people talking with animals, yeah? Yeah, there is in all languages, I think, no? You know, the girl goes in the forest, talks with the fox, and because people communicated telepathically. People communicated with each other without talking. So this is lost, for instance. This is already an enormous loss in our potential, and many things like that. We are very very limited, because the society forces upon us so many false conceptions. So this chanting, it frees one from this cage, I would call it a cage, where you can actually see the reality. Okay? So all glory to Prabhupada. Jai, Hare Krishna. Okay. No, Vishnu Padai, Krishna Prasthaya, Vishnu Tivati, Sarasvati Devi, Gauravani Prachayani, Prasthati Vishtarame. It's also something you can do in your own home. You can have a picture of Krishna and offer incense and a flower, for instance. This is also a nice way to remember Krishna.
You want to sing that? Do you want to sing? So don't you know the words? Kiba Jayo Jayo Gaura Chander Harati Koshobha
Kiba Jayo Jayo Gora Chande Arati Kosoga
Janavita Dakinitai Chan Bemigadadharam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, नित्य गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि बोल।
उसके बाद वो कब आएंगे?
इधर बस जय के साइड
Krishna. नीचे
बेटा आराम से
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste
Prabhupada ki Jai Gaur Premanandi.
Hari Bol.
Boca?
Just keep it next to the altar and everybody lights offers. You should have a picture from there. There is? Okay.
Vi behöver någonting för att lägga de där ljusen efter de har offrat. En tallrik eller någonting, hörde du det? Eller en vanlig tallrik. Hare Krishna Rami. How are you? Maybe you should explain to them what to do.
Could you explain it?
Yeah, but she told me to wait for the Bhoga offering. I don't know.
You can arrange it.
So first we will do Bhoga offering or ghee lamp offering?
But you have to go.
We can do ghee lamp first.
Then ghee lamp.
So one thing today it's today is the beginning of one special month which is called Damodara Masa, the month of Lord Damodara. And Damodara, it's one of the names of Krishna when he was a small child. And Damodara, it refers to being tied in the stomach by his mother. So this special pastime of Krishna in his childhood, he was tied by his mother, and this is quite special because in one sense we have just read today that Krishna is maintaining the whole creation just by his energy, but at the same time, he is subject to the love of his devotees. And this is what we commemorate in this month. We will later, maybe in other days, speak about it. So the tradition is that in these months, every day in Vrindavana, where this pastime happened, we offer a lamp to the Lord. So I will just do it first and show you how to offer, and then everybody can come during the song, during Dimitri's Kirtan, and also offer. I think they will bring a plate to put the offered candles. No, the lady is doing it. I don't know exactly what's happening, so. Okay. So I cannot tell you. Why don't you ask her, Dimitri, if we should do the offer lamps first or the boga?
For the day.
So what we're going to do first? Okay. Yeah. So we offer later, okay? So what you do, you take a lamp and you lighten it, and then you offer 7 times around the body to Damodara. Anybody's counting?
Yes.
And then you put it here, and then one offer obeisances. So you can come one after one and do it during the kirtan, okay? The children can start. Go ahead.
Simon, 7 times.
पकड़ो ना पहले लेना
नमो विष्णु पदाय कृष्ण कृष्णाय श्रीमती भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनी नमिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktivinoda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktivinoda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Den bilden. 7 gånger.
Hare नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय की जय गौतम
Thank you.